talk, shop, pop, movies.
Ahoy there, this is Derek, the convicted cinephile. And if you are a cinephile yourself, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel down below. And on my channel, I like to talk, shop, and pop, open that is, movies and physical media. So today I'm doing a Oscar week video. This particular topic was suggested to me by TIM Talks Talkies. So if you don't follow him, which I'm sure you already do if you know about me, go follow him on his channel, Tim Talks Talkies. Timothy Talkies. So what he suggested was picking some of my most favorite surprise winners or shocking winners that I was a fan of. This is surprisingly difficult to pick any of them, honestly, because in recent years, I look at the awards race for so long and in such detail that by the time anything happens, there's barely any surprises. And when there is, it's something that I honestly don't care about. It's usually like the number one or two thing that ends up winning. And I'm always expecting it to be one of those two things. I did all crafts categories. I have 5 that I picked and 1 honorable mention. I'm going to go in most recent to furthest back. I only did a span of years in which I've been alive because it'd make it even harder to gauge whether or not it was shocking, I suppose. The most recent one I have is the winner of Best Visual Effects in 2019. I was glad this won. I predicted this one to win, even though I didn't really think it was going to. I guess, I don't know. I just had a hunch it was going to win, and I was right. And that would be 1917 for Best Visual Effects. And I believe Gold Derby and everyone else assumed Avengers Endgame would finally win the visual effects Oscar for the MCU, because to this date, none of those movies have won. The only Marvel movie to ever win visual effects is still Spider-Man 2. And this year, nothing's going to change. I'm a fan of movies that have invisible effects like this, where you don't even notice how good they are until you watch a VFX breakdown or something like that. First Man is another example that happened recently as well, but I already had this one, so I decided to only pick this one. But yeah, you should look into it if you haven't seen how many visual effects are actually in this movie. It's impressive. And more times than not lately, the visual effects winner often wins the cinematography award. And Roger Deakins was a lock for this category that year. So I just had my hunch and I went that way, just due to my personal cinematography VFX stat. So that was a good one. Like I said, it wasn't really surprising to me, but it was surprising to a lot of people. They're hard to gauge. Another one for visual effects. 2015 was a damn good year for the visual effects category. You had 3 very possible to win awards Best Picture nominees in there. A Star Wars movie and this. And the little engine that this movie is came out of nowhere and won Best Visual Effects over Mad Max, which was up for Best Picture and ended up winning the most Oscars that day. The Revenant, which won Best Director and Actor and Cinematography. So that's where this, cinematography VFX thing has a little hiccup, but it was nominated. So, I'm not wrong. Same goes for Mad Max. And The Martian, and then Episode 7. But Ex Machina came out of nowhere and took the visual effects Oscar from 4 comparatively enormous sci-fi epics, if you will. And I thought it was awesome. Any of these movies could have won that year, and I'd have been like, sweet, because they were all great and they all had great visual effects. But this is the kind of movie where it's not quite invisible effects, because obviously this translucent robot woman isn't 100% real, but it's so flawlessly done, it's ridiculous. So good pick. Any of those choices would have been good, but I was genuinely surprised this one, and I'm happy about it. This one, we're going back to 2011, which was a good year and an even better year for things that were better than Best Picture nominees that weren't nominated. This being one of them. This movie was nominated for 5 Oscars, not Best Picture, which it should have been, not Best Director, which it should have been and was nominated for the Directors Guild, and it won editing, even though it wasn't nominated for Best Picture, which, it happens, and it deserved it. And I was super excited that it won when it did, because I love me some David Fincher movies. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. This might be another case where I think I predicted it just based on the fact that I liked it the most, editing-wise and movie-wise. So when it ended up winning, I was like, holy shit, I was right. I love this movie. Just like any other David Fincher movie. And just the fact that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture makes it more impressive that it won Best Editing without being like a hyper-edited action movie like The Matrix or Bourne Ultimatum or Terminator 2 or something like that. You know, those are usually the ones that can like win editing without everything else. Movies like this, not so much. 1997. We all remember what won Best Picture for 1997, right? It won fucking everything that year. It was a movie about a boat called Titanic. Titanic had 14 nominations, which is still the record for most nominations. 3 movies have it, but that's the record. And it won 11 of them, which is also the record, which also 3 movies have won 11 nominations or 11 awards. And it's like the only movie, at least the most recent movie, I think, pretty sure, that won Best Picture without a screenplay nomination. Doing math and subtracting 11 from 14, that leaves 3 things it didn't win. 2 of them were acting awards, but this was the only craft award that it was up for that it did not win, and I'm so happy that the Academy chose this substantially better choice, at least when it comes to Best Makeup. Rick Baker, the god himself, for Men in Black. The creatures and makeup in this movie are outstanding. It absolutely deserved this award. I think this was, number 5 out of 7 for Rick Baker, if I'm not mistaken. The makeup in Titanic is good, but, I mean, besides, like, people being iced over ever so slightly in the water towards the end of the movie and, like, regular, normal people makeup, there wasn't much there. I mean, it's kind of surprising I got nominated in the first place. Other than that, it just was winning and getting nominated for everything. Good on you, Academy. How the song for Men in Black did not win an Oscar is beyond me. So here's number 5. Back to 1991. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. I'll just guess. I wasn't privy to the awards race, having been only like 6 years old at the time. This is not the movie that won the top 5 Oscars, which was Silence of the Lambs, which was the most recent movie to do that. They could have picked any of the things that were nominated this year. Oh yeah, now I remember why I picked this. This was the year of Terminator 2. Like I said before, Terminator 2 is the kind of action movie that wins Best Editing, and it makes sense. It won sound effects editing and visual effects, obviously. And the thing that wins sound effects editing often wins film editing as well. Not all the time, but often enough that it's like, if you're going to place your bet somewhere, do that. But they looked beyond the badassery that is Terminator 2. You know, who doesn't love it? And picked this substantially more interesting film as far as its editing goes. Oliver Stone's JFK. This movie is so good. It's one of those like 3+ hour movies that if I just happen to watch it or catch it in the middle of it, I'm sucked in immediately and I have to finish the whole thing. It has an amazing ensemble cast, including Kevin Costner, who's the lead. You got Gary Oldman in there. It's too many people to think of. Michael Rooker, Gary Oldman, Laurie Metcalf, Tommy Lee Jones, who was nominated, Kevin Bacon, Kevin Costner, Sissy Spacek. You got Wayne Knight in there from The Seinfeld. Donald Sutherland shows up for a second, which is cool. This movie, so good. It was nominated for cinematography as well because it was shot on various different kinds of film and video and etc. to replicate the shooting of JFK from various angles and how it was recorded in real life. And just the way this movie's cut together is so exciting and it just captivates you, even though it's like 200 minutes long, and that's a feat. And this is the director's cut, so you know it's long because it's Oliver Stone. He doesn't know how to make short movies. 205 minutes, yeah, so I was pretty close. But my honorable mention I have is for a movie that was under-nominated, I would say. It still won 4 Oscars, but it should have been up for adapted screenplay, director, and picture, in my opinion. It's an 80s film, 1988. This film won for its visual effects, editing, I want to say. I want to say sound editing and editing. That might be what it was. But it got a Special Achievement Award. Very deservingly. for its animation direction, which isn't a thing in the Oscars. It's not its own category. They almost have it now with the best animated feature, but Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I love that it got an honorary Oscar for its animation direction, because when you watch that movie and how difficult it was to plan all that out and edit it and animate around the actors and act towards nothing at the same time and rehearse with little puppets. Just seriously watch all the behind the scenes stuff on Roger Rabbit. And if you already don't love the movie, you will. And if you don't love the movie after that, I don't like you and I want you to leave. So that is what I picked for my suggested video from Tim Talks Talkies yet again. So I did 5 plus an honorable mention. Surprise wins that I loved. I am going to do, some other Oscar videos this week. I am Derek, the Convicted Cinephile. Please like, share, and subscribe and all that nonsense. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Talk, shop, pop, movies.